Weißt du was über ein Treffen in Trier?
Null.
March 11th, just before 9 p.m. I was just quickly checking my emails. I opened my inbox, not expecting anything unusual. But then I saw it. A reply email to my inquiry from weeks prior to the municipality of Schmelz. I didn't think much of it. Honestly, I even assumed it was probably a rejection. Maybe they couldn't find the person I was looking for, or maybe for privacy reasons or personal protection, they simply weren't allowed to share any information with me. I opened the email, still not expecting anything special, and it began like this. Dear Jennifer, Mrs. Sabine Herrmann, the clerk responsible for your family history research at the municipality of Schmelz, contacted me and asked whether I am, quote, the girl Annelie, and the daughter of the woman Ilma Maus mentioned in your inquiry. I can confirm both. Wow. When I read just that first paragraph, I could barely believe my eyes. Her mother Ilma Maus, who passed away at the age of 86, had known my grandfather Helmut very well. The email was long, very long, filled with personal details, private information, things only someone deeply connected to the story could possibly know. Everything we had read in the letters was true. Every detail confirmed. And at that moment I knew this was real. This was her. We found Annelie. I didn't even finish reading the email in my room. I ran downstairs to my dad, who was watching TV. And I almost screamed, turn up the TV, I have to read something out to you, listen carefully. He looked at me a little bit confused. And then I started reading the email out loud, word by word, sentence by sentence. And by the time I finished, we were both completely overwhelmed. And almost immediately, we started making plans. Plans to visit Annelie, to meet her in person, to finally see her face to face. And 1 week later, my father and I woke up at 6 a.m., got dressed, packed everything, every piece of correspondence we had, and one very special photograph of Susie from Paris, Annelie's godmother. We took it with us, just in case. The drive was long and we were very excited. I was also a bit nervous, to be honest.
We're almost there, 2 minutes away.
And then finally we met Annelie. And it was as if I time traveled, because I had just read about her when she was a little girl and she went to France when she was 9 years old. And those were the pictures I had in my head of this young girl. And then the woman who opened the door, she's a grandma, almost 80 years old. And I wondered what happened between this time, what happened between the time those letters were written and now, and how has she lived her life?
Pass auf, das hier ist Susis Schrift.
Ja.
Und das vermuten wir
Von den
ist
Eltern,
die
ne?
Schrift der Mutter. Also
Das ist
von den Eltern.
von der Mami Suzanne.
Ah,
Das ist
erkennst du
Mami.
sofort,
Die Mami
okay?
Suzanne, und das ist ein ganz typisch französischer Schrift.
Ja,
Oh, wow.
Ja, genau.
Annelie confirmed multiple details from the letters, details she recognized from her own past. Among other things, she recalled being the very first student granted special permission by the Saarland Ministry of Education to travel to France to study. She was 9 years old. She first stayed with her godmother Susie in Paris, and later with Susie's parents in Les Sables d'Olonne, a seaside town on the French Atlantic coast. More importantly, she confirmed something we had already read in the letters, but hadn't dared believe we understood correctly, that Susie and her entire family were imprisoned shortly after the war ended, reportedly held in solitary confinement. They were accused of collaboration. This places their story in the immediate aftermath of 1944, a time when accusations of collaboration led to severe consequences. People were imprisoned, stripped of civil rights, and often lost their property. In some cases, entire families were held responsible, especially when there was suspicion of connections to Germans, regardless of whether those connections were part of collaboration or even resistance. Based on what we know so far, it is possible that my grandfather, as a German deserter, was connected to resistance structures, and that Susie's family may have been involved or supported him in some way. If that was the case, it raises the possibility that their actions were later interpreted differently with serious consequences. What remains unclear is the full extent of these connections and what exactly led to these measures. In her letters, Susie wrote that they had lost a significant part of their possessions. She also mentioned that their voting rights were revoked for 5 years, a detail that speaks to how serious the suspicion against them was. Annelie told us more about Susie's life. She had visited her in Paris several times over the years. She even gave us Susie's last known address. And she mentioned that she loved visiting the Musée Rodin. But there was one more thing. Susie's only daughter died at the age of 10 from a heart condition. It's hard to imagine a life shaped by so many of these moments. Imprisonment, loss, the long silence after the war. And yet, she visited museums. She had a favorite place in Paris. She wrote letters. I found myself wondering what she enjoyed, how she saw the world, what she made of it all. And as the light came through Annelie's kitchen window, and she sat there telling us about Susie's life, and showing us photographs, a wave of bittersweet melancholy came over me. An entire life told in an afternoon. One moment, you're in the midst of it all, hoping, dreaming, loving, grieving, writing letters that strangers will one day read. And then, in the blink of an eye, you're gone. Only memories remain. It was a reminder to hold on to every small moment. There are no surviving letters that my grandfather wrote to Annelie's mother. However, one letter from her to my grandfather still exists.
Schmelz, 27. Juni 1955. Also,
Wow.
ne?
Ja.
Lieber Helmut, falls meine Zeilen dich erreichen, bist du gewiss überrascht. Trotzdem, ich fühle noch all die Jahre hindurch, du wartest auf ein Lebenszeichen von mir, vielleicht oder gewiss noch auf die Erklärung der taktlosen Handlungsweise von Trier. Da taucht natürlich schon die erste Frage auf. Hast du Ahnung, was ist das? Aber ich lese mal weiter. Frei und offen mit dir zu sprechen, dir ein klares Bild über die gesamten Zusammenhänge zu vermitteln, ist nicht erst heute, sondern schon immer mein Bedürfnis gewesen. Heute, wie ein Fingerzeig Gottes, fiel mir durch Zufall ein Brief in die Hände, den du vor genau 7 Jahren am 27. Juni 1948 geschrieben hattest. So kam ich wieder zur Adresse von deiner Schwester. Mit Susi stehe ich noch in schriftlicher Verbindung. Sie wohnt in Paris, ist verheiratet und hat ein Töchterchen. Sie hat Annelie eingeladen, die großen Ferien bei ihr zu verbringen. Diese beginnen hier am 16. Juli. Sie ist 9 Jahre alt und sehr ordentlich. Wir sind alle gesund, somit hätte ich Grund zur Zufriedenheit. Aber diese habe ich offen gestanden noch nie besessen. Man lernt nie aus. Für heute möchte ich schließen und mit den besten Grüßen und guten Wünschen für dich und deine Lieben, Irma. Was war das? Und weißt du was über ein Treffen in Trier?
Null. Das Ganze war eine derart delikate Angelegenheit,
Ja.
dass die mit uns Kindern nicht kommuniziert wurde.
Ja.
Ansonsten war meine Mutter sehr offen mit uns. Sie hat zum Beispiel uns sehr frühzeitig aufgeklärt und so, was damals nicht unbedingt so üblich war. Und wir haben immer ziemlich offen kommuniziert, aber wie bei jedem, jeder hat so eine verschlossene Kammer in sich,
Ja, das ist richtig. Ja.
in dem er andere zu der der anderen keinen Zutritt, nicht mal unbedingt dem Ehepartner.
After our visit with Annelie, my father and I didn't go home right away. We needed time to process everything we had just heard. So instead, we drove to a small cafe in a nearby town and sat down to talk it through. At some point, we came back to the question of the meetings in Trier, what they might have been and what role they played. While we were talking, an older man at the next table turned towards us. He had clearly been listening, and then, without hesitation, he joined the conversation. He told us that his parents were from Trier. During the war, and even before, they had been part of a small resistance group in the city. As far as he knew, it had some connection to the church. In that context, he mentioned a name, Reinhold Lofi, a resistance fighter from Trier connected to Catholic youth groups who had openly opposed the regime. The man couldn't confirm whether his parents had known him personally. He said they rarely spoke about that time, but the name stayed with us. Before he left, he gave us one more piece of advice. He told us we should go to an antiquarian bookshop near the cathedral in Trier and ask if there was any literature about these meetings. So that's what we did. We went to Trier, Germany's oldest city, to find out more about history.
Art geheime Treffen in Trier stattgefunden. Haben Sie da eventuell Literatur oder sowas darüber oder wissen Sie etwas?
Die scheinen sehr geheim gewesen zu sein.
Okay.
Aber vielleicht kann Ihnen mein Kollege in der Neustraße weitergeben.
Neustraße?
Ja, gerne.
Viel Erfolg.
The woman at the bookstore told us she didn't know much about these kind of secret groups herself, but she pointed us to someone else. She sent us to a colleague of hers, another antiquarian bookseller, who, she said, might know more. So we went. Her colleague pointed us toward the cathedral, mentioning that there had been Catholic youth groups in Trier that stood in opposition to the regime. He also told us that if we wanted to get a sense of how and where such meetings could have taken place, we should explore the cathedral itself. When we made our way down into the lower sections, the underground areas beneath the main structure, something became obvious. Because above us, the cathedral was crowded, full of visitors, tour groups, entire school classes moving through the space. But down below, there was no one, no visitors, no locals, just the two of us. And at that moment, it became easy to imagine how a place like this, hidden in plain sight, could have been used. Quiet, accessible, and at the same time removed enough to remain unnoticed for any kind of meeting. The bookseller gave us one more location. He told us to check out the Imperial Baths Trier, the old Roman imperial bath. Beneath them is a network of underground corridors that were originally part of a Roman water and heating system. Over time, these passages formed a kind of maze under the site. According to him, these underground spaces were used in different ways throughout history. Even during the Nazi period, parts of them were repurposed. And there are scattered accounts suggesting that people may have used these tunnels for discreet meetings, both before and during the war. There's not much concrete documentation, but enough to raise questions. He told us that if there was any place in Trier where truly hidden meetings could have taken place, it would be down there. And that's where we went next.
Die Kellergänge, in die wir jetzt gehen, da war also praktisch die Heizungsanlage der Römer.
Ja.
Du siehst, das ist jetzt der zweite Bereich, in den wir gehen. Auch hier war natürlich die Möglichkeit, sich zu treffen, sich so zu treffen, dass man nirgendwo von jemandem gehört wurde, dass niemand eben halt dabei war und man eben halt schon sich vertraulich unterhalten konnte.
Also meinst du, hier hätten geheime Treffen in Trier stattfinden können, oder?
Habe und kann ich mir sehr, sehr gut vorstellen, dass das eben halt so gewesen ist, ja.
Even if we may never fully understand what kind of meetings took place in Trier or why they happened, being there adds a layer to the story that can't be found in documents alone. It shifts your perspective. You stop seeing these places only as historic landmarks and start seeing them as spaces where things may have happened quietly without record. At some point, whatever was happening there came to an end. Not just in this story, but more broadly, these kinds of connections seem to have faded over time. After the war, and as the years went on, life changed. People rebuilt, Germany stabilized. A new chapter began. But the timing doesn't feel random. The phone call my grandfather made to Ilma, and the call he received before that, followed by the visit my aunt remembers, all seem to fall into that same moment, as if something was being wrapped up, closed, left behind, and then silence. Until now.
Bien, cher André, nous parlons rarement de ce qui s'est passé. Peut-être parce que c'est trop lourd à porter, peut-être aussi parce que certaines choses doivent rester tues.